All right, awesome. Welcome to Hope Community Thursday night, 6:30, where we're learning how to live healthy, even though we're living in a toxic world. All right, for those of you coming in, make sure that after I click off, I give you the announcements. But tonight's subject is about digestive issues. Been getting a lot of phone calls about, oh my goodness, for everything from upset tummy that won't settle down to full-blown, I went to the emergency room because I was having stomach pains. So we're going to talk about it. But first, I'd like to talk about connection, community, and transformation. This is what Neo-Life Family is all about. It's about connection, it's about community, and it's about transformation. And how many here love to connect with the Neo-Life family? Woo, woo, woo. How many here love the community that we created with Neo-Life? How many here has experienced or know somebody else personally that has experienced a fabulous transformation? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Absolutely. And in a world that is dark, in a world that is getting more and more distance, further away from truth, it is so refreshing to plug into something that is moving forward in a good manner and making a powerful difference. So let's take a look, Neo-Life family. Now, I love the fact that this vehicle allows me to fulfill my God-given mission as a healthy living evangelist. Wow, fellow helpers. You are fellow helpers. I'm not the big cheese. Without you, this cheese don't stand a chance. But it's all our cheese. You know, Denise used to say, I'm leaving that alone. It's not your cheese. And so don't dip your chip in that. That's not your cheese. But we are all the smiling G's. Why? Because we are fellow helpers. There's no big I's. There are no big cheeses around here. Everybody matters. Everybody is here to make a difference. So I love 3rd John, and I'm going to exhort to you 3rd John. Beloved, I would above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And we talk a lot about spirit, soul, and body, because whatever is happening or manifesting in your body, odds are you can trace it back, trail it back to some source of a spiritual connection, an emotional connection, a mental, a thought process, a behavior process, a habit process connection. If Christ is in you, then truth is within you. Now, how many here profess Christ is in us? Then truth abides in you. And then we can exude that truth because he abides in us. And he is what? He is the truth, he is the life, and he is the way. Faith causes the truth to rise and allows you to walk in it. So without faith, it's impossible to please God. So we take that little bit of faith. Everybody here had to take a step of faith to say yes to Neo-Life, didn't they? Everybody here had to take a step of faith and say, yes, I'm coming to listen to whoever the speaker is on Thursday night or some of our events. You have to step out in faith to believe and take action. And to be able to walk in that truth, to glean more, to have personal development, to gain more knowledge so that you can share more knowledge. Also, you will be a witness of Christ's love. Don't you feel loved when you come to the Neo-Life community? I don't know about you, but I have always, for 11 years now, I have felt warm, welcomed, and loved unconditionally, arms wrapped around. People from the West Coast, it doesn't matter. People from Africa, it doesn't matter. It's a common bonding of umbrella. I don't like the word umbrella. It's a banner. The scripture calls it a banner of love. fellow helper sharing the truth. So what are we? I want everybody to say, I am a fellow helper sharing the truth.
Sharing the truth.
Awesome. Following the good. So God's image is seen and is reported to all men, the good we are doing. So don't you want out in the marketplace there to be have a good reputation? Yes, you want to have a good reputation. Oh, there's that man. I can see Jennifer Kristen saying, yeah, wait. Oh, there's that man that shared the good news with me that changed my life. And then she plugged into a community that is helping sustain her faith walk. Do you know that she came to know Jesus Christ through Neolife? Did you know that? We were out in Hume Lake and we had a Sunday morning service. And they invited anyone that wanted to give their life or rededicate their life to the Lord Jesus Christ. And Jennifer bowed her head and she prayed the prayer. And ever since then, she has been opening her Bible and connecting and wanting to grow and wanting to develop. That's what it's all about. Wow. All right. So I get excited and delighted every time I talk about it. So let's do a deep dive into digest. Yeah. Die. You feel like you're going to die sometimes when you have bad digestion, right? Natalie, come on up and get some goulash and some sourdough bread with some butter, with some salt in it. It's so good. But the bottom line is it's inflammation in the gut. So if you got gut issues, you got inflammation issues. Chronic inflammation will actually cause a lot of issues. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the causes, the cases, and the criteria, the triple C. So let's take a look. Crohn's, do you know, colitis and Crohn's are cousins. They're kissing cousins. In fact, we're going to talk about the difference that they are, but they're kissing cousins. Diverticulitis and diverticulosis. That just means one has created a pocket and is a chronic inflammatory issue, and the other is actually developing small little pockets that cause inflammation. Celiac. And we're going to talk about the difference between celiac and Crohn's. All these is stages of development of chronic inflammation in the body. Well, wait a minute. Arthritis has to do with digestion. Yes, arthritis is linked to your digestion. Asthma is actually linked to your digestion. Acne, I wish somebody had told me about this when I had a terrible acne flare up, because I've learned that it is all about what's happening in the gut. And the root cause is all the same. Whether you have acne, asthma, or arthritis, or celiac, or Crohn's, or colitis, the root cause is still the same. Wow. So what are the causes? Well, we take a look at that 80% of your lymphatic system is surrounded by your intestines. Now, what is your lymphatic system? It's your garbage disposal. It's your garbage disposal. We have a massage therapist in the house, Miss Mary Basta. If you need a good massage, you just ring her telephone and set an appointment. She's amazing. And what does she do? She pumps and she massages, and she's pumping your lymphatic system, because she knows that if she's pumping it, then she's expelling the toxins. So you mean to tell me that your lymphatic system is lining your gut, so it's there to grab the toxins so it can properly expel them. All right. So taking a look at 85% of your immune system barrier is in the digestive tract. So if 80% of your lymphatic system's in your digestive tract, then that's why they say 85% of your immune system is in your digestive tract. When the barrier is compromised, so there is barriers. We've been talking about borders and barriers. Well, it's pretty smart to have a border in your intestines. Imagine this, when you have a leaky barrier in your intestines, what's going to happen? It's going to allow particles and particulate and food and toxins to be released into the bloodstream without being properly digested or properly exited out of the body. So barriers and boundaries and borders are important. Well, barriers compromise. The intelligence level goes down. So what happens when the border is compromised? When a barrier or a boundary is compromised, the intelligence level goes down, and can't tell the difference between friendly and unfriendly. So in other words, you've got a little matter of confusion and chaos. Does that sound like anything that's happening at the border? A little confusion, a little chaos happening there. Why? Because there is a compromise that has happened at the border. And the same thing happens with your intestines in digestion.
One more second.
All right, been requested to roll her back. Let's see, I think
The one you were just on at one more.
that one there.
Yeah.
All right, got it?
No, I got it. Come on. Got it.
All right.
Thanks.
Now, the number one culprit, we're just going to dive in right now because 50 years ago, IBS was like, what? You might have been called, you have a sensitive stomach. You might have been called that you might have a, instead of a sensitive stomach, you might be called, you have, that's where you hold your stress, is in your stomach. All right, your vagus nerve is there, and you got a lot of nerve connective tissue in your stomach. So let's take a look. What has happened in the last 50 years that has made the shift from having a little upset stomach because it's sensitive to all of a sudden a major chronic issues that has become like a plague called IBS today? Well, the one culprit that we can find is glyphosate. Now, Dr. Stephanie Seneff is the lady who's done the most research on the connection between glyphosate and digestive issues and leaky gut syndrome. And what else have we introduced is GMOs. So you're looking at GMOs, you're looking at glyphosate and GMOs. Destroys the membrane barrier. So anything that's going to destroy your border, your hedge of protection, your wall, your barrier, your border, anything that's going to destroy that is going to compromise you, and it's going to take your intelligence level, that's your immunity, remember, down, not up. So sulfate deficiency is one of the first things that happens when you're exposed to glyphosate. And sulfite deficiency, sulfate and oxygen are mineral salts that helps the body detox. So in other words, the body is failing to go through its natural process of detoxification, and then it begins to hold on to the toxins. And as it holds on to the toxins, it begins to self-destruct you. Wow. So immune system exposed to things it's not supposed to be exposed to, and confusing the identity. Very easy to confuse the identity because glyphosate is very similar to also another amino acid. It can mimic another amino acid. So the cells in your, if you look at this picture here, you see that you have junctions in your intestines. And there are tightly knit cells in those junctions so that they stay connected and hooked together. Now, when this has been compromised because of a sulfate deficiency and because of these toxins that you're being exposed to from glyphosate, then all of a sudden the cells in those tight junctions begin to shrink, and then those junctions begin to leak, and that is called leaky gut syndrome. Leaky gut syndrome, oh my goodness, I'm getting more and more emails every day about leaky gut syndrome is to blame for pretty much everything now. I mean, there is this like buzz, leaky gut syndrome is everywhere. And I do believe it is because everyone is exposed to glyphosate. They have actually found it in the air we're breathing. So you can't escape the glyphosate. So we're going to have to figure out how we can actually cope, and not just cope, but overcome this issue. So let's take a look. Glyphosate. It disrupts sulfite synthesis and sulfate transport, leading to sulfate deficiency, triggering leaky gut. So one of the major things that we can do is get in the sunshine, because sulfate is made like vitamin D when you get into the sunshine. And you have to have plenty of vitamin D to make sulfate. Eating sulfur-rich foods is great also, is another important strategy for boosting your sulfate production. Animal protein. Animal protein is a great source of sulfate. And how about other foods include coconut oil, olive oil, and make sure it's a quality olive oil. We teach you what to look for in labels. Organic pasteurized eggs, legumes, garlic, onion, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, I'm sure is in there. Asparagus, kale, broccoli, and wheat germ. Wow. So these are sulfate-rich foods that the body needs when you eat them. Then go out and get 20 minutes of sunshine. Wow. Amazing, isn't it? So more and more people are what? Staying indoors. They're stuck in an office all day. They're stuck inside four walls under the blue lights all day. And then they're not able to synthesize. First of all, they're not eating those foods that I just mentioned. And then they're not able to synthesize the sulfate and the vitamin D. Because how do you get vitamin D? The same way. Go out into the sunshine. So let's take a look at, okay, I'm going to make sure wasn't anybody else on there. All right. Zach Bush is another gentleman who actually is starting a major revolution. Remember the movie that I showed you, Kiss the Ground? Okay, this is Zach Bush. And now he started a massive organization of permaculture. And those that are going to go back to creating small gardens and permaculture, and he trains you how to do it. He's actually a medical doctor. And so Zach Bush is quite amazing. And he has done some of the most research on glyphosate toxins and how it affects the gut and how it changes the gut biome and the GMOs. Over the last 25 years, we've seen the most profound explosion of chronic diseases. By 2016, the CDC reported 1 in every 14 kids in the USA is with developmental disabilities, 1 in 28 boys, 128 with an autism spectrum disorder, attention deficit disorder, found in 1 in 10 children. And 50 years ago, this was unheard of. Unheard of. So how have we gotten on this spectrum to where we're damaging 1 out of 10 little boys that are born today because they're finding this glyphosate in the mother and in the umbilical cord. And when you mix the glyphosate also with BT and other types of toxins that are pesticides used in agriculture, then it actually interrupts the testosterone and the estrogen in the development of that fetus. And it causes a complete disruption. So the connecting factor is chronic inflammation, and chronic inflammation is the root of all disease. Wow. So these toxins, in other words, are causing a lot of chronic inflammation inside the gut. Wow. Increased chronic disease, dementia in women has increased. Parkinson's in men. Isn't this interesting that women are getting dementia and men are getting Parkinson's at an alarming rate? Autoimmune diseases. And of course, you know, autoimmune is just a term they use because they don't know what else to say for a list of symptoms. Has hit an all-time high. MS and you just go down the list of all of the autoimmune issues. Today, 1 in every 2 people will be diagnosed with cancer before they die. Wow. 1, 2, 1, 2, boom, boom, boom. Let it not be you. Oh my goodness. And how do we get to this stage? Because we've been exposed to a lot, but we're not paying attention to how our body can heal itself, because our body has the language of healing when we give it the language of healing. Wow. The connecting factor again is chronic inflammation. So let's take a look at the difference between chronic colitis and Crohn's. Crohn's it tends to dig deeper than the outer layer of the intestines. So in other words, it buries and burrows deep down into the layers of the intestines, creating long-term damage, and can affect from the throat all the way through your rectum. You'll lose your villi, and that's those little tiny fillers that line your intestines that actually reach out and grab your B vitamins and grab your minerals, grab your nutrition, your protein, your fats, your nutrition, and is able to assimilate it and digest it and process it. And you can get to a point in Crohn's where your intestines have lost all its villi and it's nothing but a slide. Wow. So in other words, you lose your villi, then you lose your gut migration ability. When a nation loses its migration ability at the border and the barrier, you cease to become a nation. Chaos, chaos everywhere. And then colitis, as you can see here, stays on the surface and only affects the colon. So do you see the difference here? Crohn's can go all over the place and goes deep, but colitis can spring up. It's surface only, causes you a lot of pain, and then it subsides. There's a lot of long-term damage that happens with Crohn's, though. And all Crohn's is an advanced unchecked colitis. Did you hear what I just said? It's just advancing. So ulcerated colitis, you can actually see a moderate inflammatory trigger. And then you can see over here where you have a severe one. This is very painful, guys. I'm on the phone with the people and they feel like they're dying because the pain is so severe in the gut. So you're looking at a normal, healthy, fresh lining of the colon that's pink and flushes through. And yet when it sets up it's inflammatory, chronic inflammation, then it can get so bad that where and there are very few treatments. It's usually an antibiotic and a steroid. And then they send you home. So immune dysfunction, ulcerative colitis symptoms, cramping, diarrhea, blood in the stool, urgency to defecate, inability to defecate. So in other words, it can go from constipation to diarrhea, weight loss. Why? Because you're not able to hold on to your nutrition, fatigue, and even fever, because chronic inflammation will cause blood pressure to rise. It will cause fevers to anything. Well, I must be coming down with a cold. No, you have an internal chronic inflammatory issue in the lining of your colon. So take a look here where it says enteric independent nervous system. This is why they call the gut the second brain, because it has a separate nervous system. And that separate nervous system can operate even if you had a spinal cord cut. That nervous system, because it's enteric, it operates separately from your full nervous system. Whatever happens in the digestion will also affect your mood. Oh my goodness. So depression, headaches, stress levels, neck pain, because a lot of times stress will bring and trigger on colitis. Stress will trigger an attack in the colon or the intestines. So what is colonizing in the gut is also colonizing in the brain. Wow. So chronic inflammation causes ulcers. And what this is, it's chronic terrorist attacks on the lining of your intestines and your colon. So therefore, it causes an open ulcer. Has anybody here ever had a mouth ulcer? Oh, I have. So you know how painful that is in your mouth. You can't eat, you can't swallow, you can't do anything, but just, oh my goodness. And you just want it to go away, right? Well, that same thing is happening on the inside of you in your colon. Affects the colon and the rectum, emotionally, physically draining. It can be very emotionally draining to have colitis, ulcerative colitis, or have Crohn's. It's very emotionally draining. And guess what? Medical offers no cure. They just can help you with the symptoms with an antibiotic or a steroid. That's pretty much all that they can do. So let's take a look at some colon facts. Okay, your colon is what absorbs your electrolytes. So your colon is what absorbs water. And the colon needs electrolytes. And so when you have a lot of diarrhea, that means the colon is emptying out of its electrolytes, and you're going to need to replenish the what? The electrolytes. So it's a full of microbiome. In fact, the colon has the highest concentration of those bacteria, biome bacteria. It's 5 foot in length. It's an average of 5 foot. So you got 5 feet of establishing homeostasis and keeping all those trillions of bacteria happy and eating, not fighting, but eating, properly eating and not fighting one another. It's a checks and balance. But when glyphosate enters the picture, it causes the bad bacteria, so to speak, because bad bacteria have a purpose too, to override the good guys, and then everything gets dysbiosis and everything gets turned upside down. Then it causes damage to the cells. And then remember that juncture, that tight juncture begins to shrink and split. So what do you need in the colon to stay healthy? You need minerals and B vitamins, because your colon is where you absorb your minerals and absorb your B vitamins. In fact, you make B vitamins from good bacteria. Wow. Stomach, though, you see the picture of the stomach, it needs to be a pH of 1 to 2. If it's higher than a 2 in pH, you won't be able to properly digest your food. And guess what happens? The pH of the stomach controls the pancreas, it controls the gallbladder, and it controls that valve that sits right here that's supposed to shut when you swallow, so that the acid doesn't flush up into your throat. So if the pH is not a 1 to 2, which is very, very acidic, then the pancreas can't do its job and the gallbladder can't do its job. And what are some of the jobs that they do? Well, the gallbladder breaks down your fats with bile salts. So the gallbladder can't make bile salts to break down your fats. And what are some of your fat nutrients? Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K. So now you're going to be deficient in vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K. Bile is alkaline, which regulates the strong acidic as it moves into the small intestines. So as it's very, very, very acidic in the stomach, moving into the small intestines, it gradually gets more alkaline. And some of the things that helps it get more alkaline is your gallbladder releasing bile salts. Wow. So everything has a purpose. Everything has to work synergistically in harmony. And when one is not working or functioning, kind of like a family, oh, where's the child that's supposed to take the trash out? It's overflowing, you know? then things back up. And it messes up everybody else's process and job. Oh my goodness. So taking a look, wow. So signs of compromise, symptoms of compromise in the digestions is skin issues. If you have psoriasis, seborrhea, if you have acne, if you have any of these skin issues, that is a sign that you've been compromised. Your barrier in your intestines has been compromised. Skin issues, yes. As a matter of fact, they said for irritable bowel dysfunction, 40% of the patients experience psoriasis or some kind of skin issue. So what's happening? Mary knows it's the lymphatic system that is over toxic. And what is it trying to escape through? The skin, your largest detox organ. Skin issues develop alongside, and by the way, you can have a skin flare-up without having a colitis flare-up or a Crohn's flare-up or a diverticulitis flare-up. You can actually, because it's kind of like a precursor, letting you know your lymphatic system's not pumping quite as well as it needs to. Your GI symptoms are under good control. Even though you're not having a flare up, you still can have manifestation of the skin. So here are some leaky gut syndrome symptoms. Brain, depression, anxiety, ADHD. Why is it we're giving them drugs when it's a gut issue? We're changing their hormones in the brain when it's really something that's going on right here. How about acne, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis? Oh my goodness, thyroid issues. Taking a look at the gut, take a look at what's happening down here because it's affecting what's sitting right here, the gland that is sitting right here. And you have hypo, hyper, Hashimoto's, Graves. And then you have your joint issues. And we talked about this in arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, headaches. All of those can be symptoms directly linked to a gut dysbiosis. Adrenals, your adrenals, because they're overtaxed, then you are suffering from a lot of fatigue. Sinus issues, chronic sinusitis, chronic infections, throat infections, ear, nose, and throat infections, frequent colds, lots of food sensitivities, lots of allergies, postnasal drips, all of those, and constipation, diarrhea, and IBS. Oh my goodness, did we name everything on this list that can be addressed right here in the gut? Wow. So let's take a look. Skin is revealing the condition of the gut. So if you got mouth ulcers, then you have also ulcers in your gut. And it's manifesting. Wow. Hives, psoriasis. You can see pictures here of red bumps, psoriasis, actually open wounds or pustular, they call them boils on the skin, pustular boils, and then mouth ulcers. Wow. So who knew that our skin is giving us a message when it manifests this, that something's going on in the gut? More skin issues. How about conjunctivitis in the eyes? Or every morning you wake up and you got so much crust and oozing out of your eyes? That is a gut issue. And vasculitis, and how about vitiligo, which is the skin pigmentation? And a lot of people are getting this, and you can, all right, it's all linked to the gut not being in harmony. Wow. You can see over and over. Oh, wait a minute. The picture on the upper right-hand corner is cancer. That's skin cancer. They're linking IBS to skin cancer. Oh my goodness. Because of what is coming. So I'm going to talk about foods you must avoid. Foods you must avoid. Now, isn't it funny? I bought fresh baked sourdough bread and I made delicious Hungarian goulash today. So don't mind my meal tonight, because this is on the list of foods to avoid. Grains, no gluten, all breads. If you have this gut issue, you have to stop the grains. Why? Because even the oats have glyphosate on them. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip here. If something says non-GMO, it most likely has glyphosate. So what you have to do is you have to buy organic, because organic will test for glyphosate. Dairy, seeds, nuts, high fiber vegetables. We kind of have a war about, is fiber good? Is fiber bad? In this situation, fiber is not your best friend. Okay, because it's going to go into a compromised gut, and it's going to ferment. It's not going to properly digest. Vegetable oils, seed oils, and low quality olive oils have to go. Processed foods, sugar, carbs. Why? Because you can't digest them while your gut's been compromised. And these foods, the carbs, will ferment and cause foggy brain, fatigue, fibromyalgia, joint pain, psoriasis. That's how it's going to manifest. Sugar drinks, any kind of sugar drinks or any kind of sodas or carbonated type drinks that's loaded with sugar. And yes, folks, alcohol. Why? Because all of these foods are going into a system that's already been compromised. Your barriers already been compromised. Your borders already been compromised. And it's going to be released through those junctures that are not tight anymore. And it's going to come back and send confused messages to your immune system. And then you're going to have swollen knees, swollen ankles, swollen puffy eyes, allergy symptoms, skin rashes, all of those symptoms. So I'm going to share with you foods to consume. You can have a pint of blueberries a day because blueberries are full of phytonutrients, and they actually help out of a lot of the fruits, and especially the berries. Blueberries are the best. Now, if you're having such a episode with colitis that you can't handle any kind of vegetable at all, any kind of fiber, you can actually cook the blueberries down and puree them. In fact, they get stronger. You ever heard of elderberry, juice and different things? They get stronger in their antioxidant values when you do that. Quality fats, believe it or not, your gut will love quality fats, especially butter. Why? Because butter contains butyrate acid, which actually heals the gut. Coconut oil, 2 to 4 ounces a day of coconut oil is great for soothing the gut. Tallow and avocado oil. Dairy, okay, so you can have dairy as long as it's A1 beta casein free. So you pretty much have to go to the farm. Now, where I went today to get that butter there is the old country, old South country store. And it's on Florida Avenue before you get to Pipkin. Or Shepherd, before you get to Shepherd on the right-hand side. And she is now carrying more and more grass-fed dairy, milk, cheese, and you can have goat cheese, sheep cheese. There's a guy at the Saturday morning market that is selling sheep cheese, and I love it because it doesn't have A1 beta casein, which is the trigger that triggers the gut, much like gluten triggers the gut. So these are all triggers that will trigger an inflammatory issue. So you can have raw cheeses because a raw grass-fed cheese will not have A1 beta casein in it. Wow. Goat cheese, sheep cheese, quality heavy cream. You can go right down there and get quality heavy cream. We also have Josiah Farm with our dairy co-op with Jan Doolin, and you can get cream that way. In fact, I was in there today and I got the meat to make my goulash, but there was a lady, she goes, why is the grass-fed milk so yellow? And the lady smiled, because it's got the full cream in it. So yogurt, if it's quality made yogurt, and kefir, if it's quality, and fermented foods not made with sugar. And kombucha is made with sugar. So you cannot have kombucha. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget Dr. Axe, that I was supposed to be sharing at one of their meetings they had with Dr. Catherine. And they wanted me to share for about 10 minutes on detox. And he was selling his kombucha. So he offered me a glass. I'm telling you, I got drunk. And I remember standing up there trying to talk to people about the detox, and the room was spinning. Why? Because it was loaded with sugar. And I just looked at him and said, I cannot drink your kombucha. And he kind of laughed. He said, some people can't. Why? It's a fermentation that is done through sugar. That's fermented through sugar. Bone broth. I cannot stress enough how important bone broth is, especially if you have an episode and you're under inflammatory attack. Drink lots of bone broth. And I'm not talking about the kind that you get down the aisle, but the kind you get around the edge of the store. As a matter of fact, the Old South Country store has some great bone broth. She also has great bone broth. But if you go to Publix, you can actually find the bone broth where the meat is, and it's frozen right there, stacked up usually in back of the meat, and it says bone broth on it. But it has to stay in the cooler. Olives and ghee. Ghee is just a clarified butter. These are all great healers for the gut. Quality meats. Contrary to what you've been told, don't eat meat if you're under attack. Actually, meat, your body can handle meat. You know why? Meat doesn't have any fiber in it. And your digestive system will have to take time to digest that meat, but it depends on how severe the attack is. It depends upon how severe the attack is. So, all right, did everybody get that? All right, so remedies. Frankincense is fantastic. 2 to 3 drops 3 times a day on the tongue. You can actually put frankincense into your blueberry compost to make a little gel out of the blueberries, cooked blueberries. Boswellia is fantastic for the gut. As a matter of fact, our full motion has Boswellia in it. And John, you'll like this because it is a joint healer. Boswellia is a joint healer. And that is why it's in our full motion, because it's part of the joint healer. And what's in your gut is joints. Join together. Kumbaya. We want the links to come back together and start singing Kumbaya again. Green tea, peppermint tea, turmeric, ginger, and chamomile tea. Notice all these are calming, soothing, anti-inflammatory. All of these remedies are calming the gut, calming the intestines, calming all of the issues down. Then, extra benefits, stop using antibacterial soap because we're compromising our gut colony by using antibacterial soap on our skin. As a matter of fact, looking at Dr. Bush, Zachary Bush, that I talked about in an earlier slide, he actually has a product that you spray on the skin that puts bacteria all over your skin so that you can colonize the trillions of bacteria that your body needs to colonize. And what we're doing is we're narrowing the colonies by destroying the colonies and not feeding all of them, but only feeding a select few of them and killing the rest of them off by our anti-sterility, antibacterial craze. Drink filtered water. That's really important to drink lots of water. Mary will tell that after you have a massage, after she is worked your lymphatic system out, you need to drink lots and lots of water. And then juice. As a matter of fact, they showed a healing in stomach ulcers in prisoners by simply drinking cabbage juice. The key is you have to juice it and drink it immediately. You can't let it sit on the counter for 20 and 30 minutes. You juice it, you drink it within the first, I think it's the first couple of minutes, you have to drink it down. Why? Because all of those, what is it? Sulfate, composition and nutrients, enzymes that your body needs in order to combat the ulcers and to reestablish good bacteria in the stomach lining. Cabbage juice is great for H. pylori, which is, again, an eating away out of balance bacteria. It's directly linked to having high pH stomach acid. Remember, your stomach acid has to be a 1 to 2 in order to function correctly and to digest the food properly and to trigger your pancreas and your gallbladder properly and shut the valve. Shut up, valve. Okay. Fasting, by the way, stimulates stem cells. If you have a severe attack, and you've had several severe attacks, then you might want to go on a 7-day bone broth fast. I'm telling you, this is tremendous healing to totally restore the gut lining, because your gut lining can be restored in, I think, 7 days. It's 7 days. I think it's 21 days you get a new lining on the gut. But 7 days is amazing. So what are some supplements that are going to be healers? Our aloe vera is a healer. The Neolife aloe vera is amazing. It actually accelerates your healing 300 times faster. It's delicious. It's lightly carbonated with our brand new one. It is combined with black tea, ginseng, chamomile. So those are all very calming teas that are calming the digestive tract. And of course, you've got to replenish the good gut bacteria. And I can't think of a better acidophilus than the Neolife acidophilus. Exclusive gel guard enteric protection system guarantees delivery by protecting against harsh stomach acids and ensuring that maximum numbers of live bacteria are delivered in the intestines. It's active, it is not dead. Remember the study they did on testing, even doctor prescribed probiotics was dead, and they can put on the label alive at package, but it won't be alive by the time you buy it off the shelf at the store. Broad spectrum, we talked about that, how you don't want to just stick with one strain. You want to have multiple strains and thousands of colonies of those multiple strains, and it's whole food derived. Amazing. Next is you want to make sure that you are getting proper enzymes to digest your food. If you're past a certain age, excuse me, I am talking now to teenagers that cannot digest their foods. And I didn't put that in this presentation, but a lot of medications will actually cause gut bacteria to go out of balance. It'll also affect the stomach acids to go out of balance. And so the enzymes and the hydrochloric acid are necessary. And there's two factors, because one of them raises the hydrochloric acid in the stomach and the other enhances the digestion with all of those proteolytic enzymes to digest the food in the small intestines and on through the large intestine. I love our formulas because it's whole food derived. It's enteric coated, so it's not going to be destroyed. The enzymes won't be destroyed in the stomach acids. It's going to go pass through the stomach into the small intestines, which is about 20 feet. They say 15 to 20 feet an average in your small intestine. So you have 5 feet of colon and about 15, 16 feet or so of small intestines. And so the beta jest is HCl, hydrochloric acid, 100% sourced by enzymes, addresses causes of digestion, not just symptoms. So it's your number one protector against H. pylori. It's your number one protector against food-borne illnesses like food poisoning from eating out or eating overseas in Mexico or traveling, which if you've ever had food poisoning, you feel like you're going to die because your colon is literally pushing and is trying to absorb every ounce of water to flush out the bacteria that doesn't belong. And you're feeling that strain and that cramp and that constant flush. It's extremely painful. The way to avoid that is to put plenty of beta just into your stomach before you eat that meal, because it will destroy any bacteria in foodborne illness. Wow. And then the enzymes, I love it because it's broad spectrum enzymes. It again is target delivery and addresses the cause of the intestinal indigestion, not the symptoms. You got bloating, you've got gas, you've got cramping, you got constipation. All of those issues are going to be dealt with by adding enzymes. Why do you think cabbage juice works? And you have to consume that cabbage juice right away, because those enzymes will be released into the air and then you won't get the benefit from them. Well, Neolife has captured those enzymes and sealed them enterically coated. So all I have to do is swallow them and boop, it does the job. One of the number one deficiencies for a person that has IBS or colitis or Crohn's is iron deficiency. So I'm going to highly recommend endurance for that. And B vitamin deficiency and iron. So derived from 100% pure beef liver, free of growth hormones, antibiotics, and pesticides. It also has vitamin C as bioflavonoids for enhanced absorption. So this is a way to rebuild up your iron. And usually too, it's from internal bleeding that is happening and going on inside of you. Remember, we talked about those herbs, those Ayurvedic herbs that help, the ginger, the turmeric, the curcumin, the cinnamon. All of those are herbs, Ayurvedic herbs that are going to help calm the inflammatory index in the body. And that's exactly what glucose balance has in it. Amazing. And in fact, it has active amounts of the turmeric and curcumin. It also has chromium and it has alpha lipoic acid. Why do you need alpha lipoic acid? Alpha lipoic acid is considered the king of all antioxidants because it works for months. And it recharges vitamin C, it recharges vitamin E. It is a recharger and it keeps on ticking, keeps on working. It's amazing. Also, I'm going to recommend detoxing the glyphosate out of your body with Betagard. Because Betagard is it will actually go into the body like a heat-seeking missile and chelate, grab like a claw, and actually grab out those heavy metal toxins that are causing the dysbiosis and a lot of the problems. And so this is Dr. Arthur First's personal signature formula to help us to regain our health, even though we are extremely being hit heavy every single day through our air, through our water, through our food, and basic environment. But Betagard to the rescue. I love it. Awesome. Salmon oil. Yeah, the number one protector of your colon lining is salmon oil. Why? It's an anti-inflammatory. It actually will reduce inflammation all over the body, but it does target the intestines 68% in less than 8 weeks. Now, if you've got a major, remember we talked about good quality fats? Omega is part of your good quality fats that you've got to consume. And so dump a lot of omegas. If you're having an issue with any of these, then you need to put a lot of them at one time in your body, not just one, but do 3, 6, 9 for a few days, not forever, but just for a few days in order to send those quality fats into the lining for a quick healing. Zinc is a wet skin tissue healer. It also is an antibacterial and an antiviral. So it's pure, it's potent, it's highly absorbable. Our unique chelated processed zinc is reacted with the amino acid methionine, a process proven to improve zinc absorption. Normally, the zinc is mined in China and only less than 10% absorbed. You're going to get 100% of our zinc. And then vitamin D. Why? Because like I said, the sulfates and the vitamin D work together to heal those junctures. And vitamin D is necessary because it acts like a steroid. What? It works better? What? It acts like what? With no side effects? Excuse me? All right, acts better and no side effects. It's an immune modulator. So if you have immune disruption, you need to send some nutrients into the body to bring back harmony and balance. Exclusive Neolife difference. I love our vitamin D. It's truly the only fully vegan D on the market. D2 and D3 of our sources of deer lichen and mushrooms. Woo! It is a great source of vitamin D. And then our B vitamins. Why? Because if you have a compromised gut, that means you're not absorbing your B vitamins like you need to be. Get that? You need to be. And so you need super B, because you need to fly around like a super bee making lots of honey and money. So you can't do that when you're down and out. So our Super B exclusive formula derived from biologically bound yeast, unique whole food source, provides B vitamins and naturally occurring ratios. I love our Super B because it's made from real food. Remember, B is made from bacteria, fed highly nutritious food. So it's quality, it's cultured properly to actually have all 8 compounds, all 8 family member profiles of the B family. And it is threshold controlled. That means it's going to stay in your body for several hours, like 8 hours. It keeps on ticking, keeps on hitting, keeps on ticking, keeps on hitting for 8 hours. It's an amazing technology. It's a futuristic technology, and we pioneered this amazing technology to sustain a level of vitamin B because it's a water soluble nutrient, and we want to make it linger longer in the body and deliver more payload of health. So right here, talking about our core nutrition, our Pro Vitality Pack, our protein shake, because you do need amino acids, you need quality protein that helps soothe. I love our protein shake. When somebody's having an issue with their intestines, they always can sip on a protein shake because it's so gentle. It's so pre-digested. And it's a great source to help someone that is sick, someone that is struggling, someone who's having an attack with colitis, Crohn's, diverticulitis, losis. It doesn't matter. Our protein shake delivers, and it delivers the whole payload of all 22 amino acids. Amazing. And I also want to recommend our Upbeat because nitric oxide works with sulfates to actually keep those junctures and vitamin D. So you're looking at nitric oxide, sulfate, and vitamin D. And to get some amazing payload of nitric oxide, our Upbeat delivers. How many here know that our nitric oxide Upbeat delivers? It delivers. It's awesome. And then our core foundation here on the right contains 1 samanol, 1 TRANN, 1 carotenoid, and 22 vitamins and minerals, all in a quality fat base. So samanol is omegas. TRANN is phytosterols and lipids. And then your carotenoids is your oil nutrients of the carotenoid family. And your body is going to soak this up, absorb it, be nurtured by it, nourished by it, love it, and actually bring about healing a whole lot faster and a whole lot smoother. So why do we love our Neolife family? Because it is genuine, it's authentic, we love the connection, we love the community, and we love the transformation that we see happening when people put intelligent nutrition inside their bodies. The body is intelligent enough to know what to do with it. So don't be putting no trash in you, because your body will know the difference between intelligent and trash. Absolutely. Backed by science, based in nature. Awesome. Wow. All right. So that actually concludes, and I'm going to take some questions as okay. All right, popping back up, but I am going to go up here too. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you have a blessed evening, and get back with the person that shared this information with you to share with you some more to continue this conversation.